You're watching NTC News, DeKalb County's only television news source, on the campus of Northern Illinois University and from the Northern Television Center. This is NTC News Tonight.
Thursday marked the 5-year anniversary of the Valentine's Day massacre at NIU that left 5 students dead and dozens wounded. Now local high schools are taking measures to make their schools safer. Good evening, I'm Megan Safely. Thanks for joining us.
And I'm Scott Hudek. Thursday also marked the 2-month anniversary of the tragic Sandy Hook shootings that left 26 dead, most of them children that attended that school. Let's take a look at what DeKalb High School is doing to make students feel safer.
At DeKalb High School, officials aren't taking any chances when it comes to the safety of their students.
Our administrative team works on our emergency planning. On a regular basis we meet.
The high school has a variety of safeguards in place, including doors that remain locked all day and an intercom to identify visitors before they enter the building.
We do have cameras throughout the building, and we have the screenshots from the cameras.
School officials did not want to say how many cameras are in the school, but they can be seen all over the school, both inside and out. But that's not all.
We have officers in the building. We have 2 officers who are armed, so we always have somebody in the building who is armed.
The officers are assisted by unarmed guards who patrol halls, check doors, and keep an eye out for anything or anyone that may look suspicious.
We're here to deter crime and, like I said before, let the kids know that we are here for them.
A DeKalb police car sits just outside where school buses pick up and drop off students. A subtle reminder to anyone who may be wanting to cause trouble.
Hope it never happens, but everyone has to be aware and know what their role is.
Up to speed and ready. That's the role that DeKalb High School is playing when it comes to the safety of their students. In DeKalb, Scott Hudek for NTC News.
In addition to the many security features that you just heard about, DeKalb High School also has a team dedicated to talking to students and parents in order to help those who may be struggling.
A 3rd person has been arrested in connection to the home invasion on Lucinda last week. Police are saying the 3 men entered the apartment with a knife and a handgun. They made threats and proceeded to demand money and cannabis. One of the men told the female victim to take her clothes off, but none of the robbers touched her. Police say the suspects may have known the victims and it wasn't most likely a random act. 3 suspects are in custody and police are investigating a 4th person.
The family of David Bogenberger is suing the fraternity he was pledged to. The lawsuit claims Bogenberger was left alone in a room in the Pi Kappa Alpha house after he became unconscious. His body was found the next morning. The lawsuit accuses the fraternity's national organization of failing to warn pledges about the dangers of drinking too much. The family is seeking damages of $100,000 from the national fraternity, the local chapter, its officers, event organizers, and partygoers. On top of the lawsuit, 22 members of the fraternity are facing felony and misdemeanor charges.
Firefighters are investigating the cause of a fire that caused $200,000 in damage to a Sycamore home. It took 45 minutes to control the fire that destroyed nearly the entire house Saturday night. They don't know what caused the fire, but they think it began in the kitchen and spread to both floors. The house had recently been remodeled and was ready to be rented. No one was in the house at the time of the fire and no injuries have been reported. Evergreen Village mobile home park in Sycamore has been the talk of DeKalb County for the past few years. This 129-unit park is on a floodplain and the tenants need to be relocated to a safer area.
DeKalb County is not fully communicating to Evergreen Village about this issue. NTC's Natalie Knorr has more on this debate.
Evergreen Village Mobile Home Park in Sycamore has been the location of 2 major floods in the past 6 years. It is the home of a couple hundred residents who have built their lives here. Manager and resident of the park, Kathy Santoro, is feeling left in the dark about the relocation.
Right now, we just don't have any answers about when it's going to happen, what's going to happen, how this is all going to work. And it's just, this has been my whole world for 29 years. I raised my daughter here since she was 3.5 years old, so it's very heartbreaking, and it's heartbreaking to a lot of people in here.
She hopes the anticipated meeting in April goes through.
I hope that really happens, but I don't even know that I trust that anymore. I really have lost trust, not with all people, but with the government here.
The flooding has caused DeKalb County to want to start the relocation of Evergreen Village. Planning Director Paul Miller, who is the head of this project, says that it is important they relocate as a safety precaution.
So as long as the park is there, it's going to get flooded again. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when. So as long as the park is there, those residents are in harm's way, and the goal is to get them out of harm.
When the residents do relocate, they will not be placed together.
But there is not going to be a place where they all will go. The county is not building a new mobile home park.
For now, the residents will have to wait. In Sycamore, I'm Natalie Knorr, NTC News.
There will be a meeting in April about more of the relocation plans. Valentine's Day was a bittersweet one for NIU students. It was the 5th year mark for the 5 students who lost their lives at Cole Hall. Family and friends gathered together at the Together Forward Memorial Garden to lay wreaths and remember their loved ones. Governor Pat Quinn and President Peters spoke on each student's life and how their presence made an impact to the Husky community. For President Peters, this was a special moment because it's the last time he will be attending the memorial as the president of NIU.
This is the last time I will have the honor of presiding over this remembrance. Like that generation of students that has moved on, now so must I. However, I will always hold in my heart those 5 lessons and these 5 students, trying to apply them every day as a humble tribute to Gail, to Catalina, to Juliana, to Ryan, and to Dan.
A DeKalb County car dealer faces identity theft charges in 2 states. Terry Lee Morrow Jr. owned and operated Silver Star Motors in Cortland. Police in Missouri started investigating Morrow when a woman found a fake car loan on a credit report last year. Morrow used personal information from customers with good credit to take out fraudulent car loans. He stole the identities of at least 44 people in Missouri and is also facing identity theft charges in Illinois. Authorities say Morrow could face more felony charges.
Police are having trouble cracking down on people who text while driving. Police cannot prove that the driver was actually texting instead of making a call or getting directions. DeKalb police issue about 5 to 10 citations a week to people they catch texting and driving. Each citation costs about $125. Distracted driving is a serious issue. The U.S. Transportation Department says that more than 3,000 people have been killed in the last 3 years because of distracted driving.
Drivers, be alert, potholes are everywhere. Potholes appear when the cracks in the road freeze over and then melt. This ends up cracking the pavement further. DeKalb's Public Works Office says they have been out there every day addressing the problem. But winter is a bad time to fill the potholes because they can be destroyed by traffic. Schedules are in place to deal with the potholes in a systematic fashion, and road crews are tackling high traffic areas first, like Twombly Road.
It looks like they're trying to build swimming pools in the street, trying to kill my car. I think I went through 2 tires already.
They plan on starting with the busier roads, but they will get to residential areas in time.
More tax dollars are being used to revamp downtown DeKalb. The sign on the old DeKalb Theater is being restored, and DeKalb City Council approved using $90,000 of tax incremental financing refunds to repair the historical landmark. The sign is an iconic landmark for the 1940s. The original theater closed in 1991, and the building is currently home to debutantes at cosmetology school. The City Council feels that the sign is a symbol of downtown DeKalb. Hope is not too far away for 300 loving dogs at the Tails Humane Society.
Let's take a look at how Tails found loving parents for all 300 dogs. For the past 10 years, Tails has been saving hundreds of dogs from the South. Many shelters in the South cannot keep the animals for long periods of time due to an overpopulation problem. The animals in the shelters are not spayed or neutered because of a lack of funds due to the procedures. Thanks to a $79,000 grant from the Petco Foundation, Tails is able to go down and rescue these dogs from the shelters.
We found that down in the South it's very impoverished and people can't afford to get their animals spayed and neutered. so they end up in very few shelters that they have, and they're bursting at the seams, so they're euthanized very quickly.
Tails cannot store all of the dogs in their shelter, so they find foster homes for all of the animals. After 3 short months, the 300 dogs have become 12 dogs. Many of the foster families end up adopting the dogs themselves.
Over 200 families came in to be fosters for the dogs, and some were going to just take 1 dog, and they ended up taking 4. You know, so it really helped us. So we didn't have to keep the dogs here.
Tails is due to have 70 more puppies arrive from Oklahoma within the next week. The foster families receive food, crates, and medication if needed. The only thing these dogs need is a family to love and take care of them. This is Megan Safely, NTC News, in DeKalb. The $79,000 not only goes towards the animals, but also helped Tails purchase a new van to transport the animals back and forth.
Great story. It was warmer today than it has been in the last few days.
And Kyle Kiel is here to let us know if that's going to continue.
Unfortunately, the cold weather's not going to continue. You know, it is still February. We do have a cold front moving through that could bring us a few showers tonight and maybe even some snow. But unfortunately, the bigger news is a snowstorm coming later this week.
Tell me that's not true.
Yeah, unfortunately. Here's a quick look at the highs tomorrow. As I said, much colder, around 18 degrees in DeKalb. And those snow showers are going to be moving out of the area into Chicago. I'll have your full forecast coming up next. You're watching NTC News Tonight.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you had a great Monday. As we were mentioning before the break, it was very warm thanks to southerly winds today. We saw a high temperature of around 48 degrees, and our low this morning was 27, but you can see that high temperature was well above average for this time of year. As I mentioned, all good things must come to an end. We are still in February, and we've got a cold front out to our west, bringing some scattered showers in front of the system. You can also see we do have a few scattered thunderstorms in the southern part of the state. No thunderstorms for us here. We're just going to see a nice cool rain into tonight as this front continues to trek its way eastward. We're going to see that rain turn to snow as we head maybe between 9 and about midnight, but our attention then focuses off to the west. We've got this area of low pressure that's going to continue to trek its way down into the Four Corners region, and this is going to have an effect on our weather later this week. We have this, again, that system's going to bring the northwest winds into our area, and we're going to continue to watch this low pressure system right here dig down into the Four Corners region, and I've kind of put out a track of what some computer models are bringing for us. You can see if this does hold true, it's going to track up into Iowa, and this could give us a moderate chance of snow, maybe 3 to 5 inches as it looks right now, but of course this can change. If this goes any further south, we could be talking about more snow, and if this track does hold true, we're going to tap into some warmer air and could be talking about maybe a freezing rain mix as we head into Friday. So keep it tuned, and we will keep an eye on that situation for you. But your forecast for tonight, that rain is going to change to snow, but we're going to see some breezy conditions. Winds from the south right now, they're going to turn northwest 20 to 25 miles per hour. Could see some gusts up to 40, a low of 15. Not warming up much tomorrow with a high temperature of 18 degrees. We could see a few flurries in the morning. Otherwise, it's going to be partly cloudy. And into tomorrow night, partly cloudy skies once again. It's going to be very blustery and cold, a low temperature of 7. And with those winds out of the northwest, 15 to 25 miles per hour, we're talking about a wind chill of around negative 10 degrees. So definitely cover up those open parts of your body, especially your head and your feet, because that's where the heat escapes the fastest. And as we head into Wednesday, mostly sunny skies, chilly weather, 22 degrees. Let's go ahead and extend it out to the next 5 days. Thursday is where we're focusing our attention. We could be talking about a winter storm, a high temperature of 27 degrees. We're going to see snow mainly in the afternoon, and with a lot of moisture, it could be some heavy snow. And then into Friday, we are going to see, again, a high temperature of around 33 degrees. And with the temperature so close to freezing at the surface, we could be getting a little bit of freezing rain, so that could make things slick. But we are going to end up nice on the weekend. Saturday, partly cloudy skies with a high temperature of 30 degrees. Back to the news desk.
Gun violence claims yet another life in Chicago.
And an Illinois state senator drops from the race for U.S. House. These are today's state lines.
An 18-year-old Chicago woman was killed just hours after her sister sat on stage at President Barack Obama's speech about gun violence. Janae McFarlane was shot in the head Friday night in North Chicago. Earlier that day, her 14-year-old sister stood behind Obama during his speech at Hyde Park Career Academy.
Illinois State Senator Toy Hutchinson has dropped out of the race for the U.S. House seat vacated by Jesse Jackson Jr. Hutchinson said she's throwing her support behind fellow Democrat Robin Kelly. Hutchinson said she didn't want her candidacy to risk dividing the community.
Prosecutors say a Skokie woman bit off a large portion of her boyfriend's tongue during a domestic dispute. 51-year-old Elaine Cook is charged with aggravated domestic battery. Prosecutors say the boyfriend retrieved the severed tongue, but doctors were unable to attach it.
Rockford wants to transform rarely used and abandoned railroad tracks into bicycle trails. The city is spending $88,000 to an engineering firm. They want to determine where obsolete crossings may be removed to clear space for bike and recreation paths.
Russia is recovering from the destruction caused by a meteor this past weekend.
And a suicide bomber claims more lives in Pakistan. Here's what's happening in today's World Watch.
A large-scale cleanup is underway after the incredible meteor blast that shook Russia's Urals region. The meteor caused a massive sonic shock wave that blew out windows and walls for hundreds of miles. More than 1,000 people were injured, many of them children. Altogether, more than 4,000 buildings were damaged over an area of nearly 80,000 square miles.
At least 5 people were killed and several others injured today when suicide bombers attacked a government building in Pakistan's Peshawar province. Pakistan's security forces exchanged gunfire with the attackers. At the time of the attack, political parties were meeting in the building to discuss the code of conduct for the upcoming elections.
Venezuelan President Hugo Chavez is back in Caracas. A message on the leader's official Twitter account says he'll continue treatment for cancer in his home country after receiving care in Cuba. Chavez was forced to miss his own inauguration last month on account of his poor health.
Best Buy is launching a new price matching guarantee. Beginning next month, Best Buy will match prices at all local retailers and nearly 20 major online competitors. The chain wants to end so-called showrooming. That's when a customer goes into the store to check out the products, then buy it online for a cheaper price. And that's today's World Watch.
Welcome to NTC Sports. I'm Eli Gehn. The women's basketball team is on a 2-game winning streak heading into Saturday's game. They played host to Bowling Green, who is 8-4 in the MAC. The Huskies representing the pink uniforms for breast cancer awareness. As you can see by all these open shots, the defense should have probably just paid more awareness to these sharpshooters for Bowling Green. Bowling Green on fire from beyond the arc in the first half, 53% to be exact. They finished the game with 10 three-pointers overall. Ashley Sneed had one of her best games of the season for the Huskies, scoring 8 points. She was 4 for 13 from the field. Amanda Corral led the Huskies with 12 points. The Falcons, although they end NIU's 2-game winning streak, winning 60-49. And the men's basketball team, they were on the losing end as well this weekend, dropping to Western Michigan. Axel Bolin led the way with 10 points for NIU. It was a tale of two halves for the Huskies, shooting 54% from the field in the first half, only 20% in the second half. That was 4 from 20 on those shots. They led by 6 at halftime, but would eventually fall 66-58. And in sports notes, sticking with NIU, the baseball team got their season underway this weekend. Didn't start off very well for the Huskies. They dropped all 4 games in the Brooks Wallace Memorial in Texas. The gymnastics team recorded a season best score on Friday, but it wasn't enough to take down Iowa State. The women's tennis team defeated Butler 6-1, and the wrestling team got a crucial win over Buffalo 20-18 on Saturday. To the NHL, the Blackhawks continue to roll, currently on a long homestand. On Friday night, the Hawks fell to a fell to the Ducks in a shootout, still getting 1 point for that loss. So Chicago still hasn't lost in regulation this season, and they look to keep that going yesterday against the defending Stanley Cup champion Kings. Hawks off to a good start, up 1-0 in the first period. Jonathan Taves is going to get the redirect shot from Patrick Sharp, puts the Hawks up 2-0, and then the first minute in the second period, Patrick Sharp, he's going to find the net. He's going top shelf. Puts the Hawks up 3-0. Looks like it's going to be an easy win for Chicago, but the Kings come back because of Mike Richards and his power play opportunities. Richards gets a power play goal here to make it 3-1, and then there's another one with under 8 minutes left in the third. Sacramento, they have another chance with under a minute to go, and look who it is. Richards misses wide of the net on the power play. Hawks hang on, get the victory. They win it 3-2 over Sacramento. The Daytona 500 is less than a week away, and history has already been made, and the race hasn't even started. Over the weekend, Danica Patrick earned the pole position to lead the start of the race on Sunday. Now, Patrick is the first woman in Series Cup history to start ahead of the pack. Now, you know, all isn't dandy when you get the pole for this race. The last time the winner of the pole for the Daytona 500, when they actually won the race, was Dale Jarrett back in 2000, so 13 years ago. And for our play of the day, I'm switching it up, and I'm going to call it our pay of the day. I'm sure everyone likes to get, have their school paid for. I know I would. But how cool is it to have your school's basketball coach win you that money? From Canada, Brandon University basketball coach Gil Chung is going to hit the half-court shot for the big prize. He ends up winning a student tuition that he's going to end up giving to a student. USA Today reports that the student will have all of his classes paid for at Brandon. How cool is that? Let's see if we can get head coach Mark Montgomery to make an attempt like that for a student here at NIU. Hopefully it would be done for me, as well as it would be great for anyone who got it. That's all with sports. Let's send it back to the desk with Megan and Scott.
Thanks so much, Eli.
Coming up, one of President John F. Kennedy's jackets is up for auction. We will take a look at how much money that fetched in.
I'm in the Honors Program here at NIU. The Honors House is a place where honors students can live together. I lived in the Honors House as a freshman, so I got to meet people right off the bat. I was with students who were in the same kinds of classes as me. So living in the Honors House just meant I had that group to start off with. Living with other honors students made all the difference in my experience, so why go anywhere else?
Northern Illinois University, learning today,
leading tomorrow.
How much money would you pay for a jacket owned by President John F. Kennedy?
Well, I would say about $628,000 there, Scott.
Well, then you would have been about $1,000 short. One bidder spent $629,000 on this Air Force One bomber jacket, which was once owned by JFK. This was one of more than 700 pieces auctioned off Sunday. Other lots included documents, photographs, letters, and gifts. They all come from the estate of David Powers, a longtime friend and assistant of JFK. Powers was also the curator of the John F. Kennedy Library and Museum until his retirement in 1994. Along with the bomber jacket given to Powers in the early 1960s, other memorabilia included a birthday card given to JFK by his son, John Jr.
NTC News Tonight is produced and directed by students here at Northern Illinois University. We want to thank you all for being with us.
Enjoy the rest of your evening. We'll be back the same time on Wednesday.
Goodbye, everyone.